Buffs Nation. I mean, just what a crazy day, right? Hope you all had a great Friday. You're enjoying your weekend. Hopefully, my internet can get in better condition coming up. But um, man, today's a great day because we're getting football back. I guess football started last week with the Hall of Fame game and whatnot, but I mean, here we are. Here we are. It's the start of preseason, the official preseason this week, and it's great. I've had Legend LX. Thank you for being in the house. I appreciate you. And I thought, I'd get on here. I mean, what other content creator is getting on here as they're, you know, enjoying the amenities of Colorado, right? We got what 50 minutes until the Broncos kick off. I've had little to no expectations for that team, but here I am again doing this to myself. Starting to believe that this Broncos team can win 9 games this year. We'll just have to see. But man, wild day too. I mean, um, there's a lot that I need to investigate, and it's all right, Legend. I've been on a kind of a crazy schedule this week too, and um, I got a lot of free time. My wife's out of town this weekend, so I'm just chilling. I got some more time to talk with the fellas. I'm kicking back. I'm gonna enjoy my evening. Got the Ultimate Fighter on, and again, the Broncos play here in 50 minutes, so we'll see how that offense looks, man. Yeah, Sean Payton's gonna make big changes, and just what a disaster last year was, man. And I think, and this is crazy too, to think that the CU Buffs last year probably had a more competent coaching staff than the Broncos did, which is, I mean, just insane when you think about how bad the the Buffs were last year, right? But I appreciate you checking in. Man, we got some people in here. Be Wanna Beast, good to see ya. Let's see, Scary Soof catching a stream. What's up, everyone? Appreciate you tuning in. And we're gonna keep this a little open ended, but this is the stuff that I love to talk about. Also, I before I get in, thank you, Twitter, and thank you so many of Buffs Country or Buffs Nation for explaining to me, I guess, what the history and beef is between this whole Coach Prime, Brian Howell stuff or Brian Howell, Coach Prime stuff. I'm not going to comment much on this now, but there's a lot that I need to go in and look into because uh, now this press conference clip just makes so much more sense. Yes, if you're on Twitter, just go read about it. You could see Coach Prime's response to Brian Howell today, and you might not think that that was anything, but goes back to everything, goes back to the beginning. So, yeah, kind of questioning his qualifications to be coach apparently. So, I don't know. I need to look into that. I need to look in to see what is going on, I guess, before I publicly comment on that next time, it warrants that. I think we're kind of past this, but we'll see. I'm sure there'll be another time if there was a press conference showtime moment like this, right? But let's get into some of the fun stuff. What if Shador goes to Denver? That'd be crazy. That is my dream. That is my dream. I think with how things are, Russell Wilson, he can have a better year this year. And I mean, if it's a disaster, then we draft another quarterback this year. But what I think is, we get another couple years of him and then we draft, the heir apparent because Russell Wilson is going to be like 37, 38. He's more of a mobile quarterback that, has to get outside the pocket because he can't see. He's a little tiny, he's what, 5'10, 5'11. But man, if we drafted Shador, that would that would make like he would go down already probably as my favorite player of all time if he's playing for my two favorite football teams. So man, I would just love it. I would be thrilled to have him walk in the footsteps of John Elway and Peyton Manning and heck, maybe Russell Wilson. Hopefully he can have a better tenure here. Now with a very confident competent coaching staff, just like we have a more than qualified coaching staff for this Buffs team. And the few holdovers that we have, they're going to show out. They were good enough to make this team. They were good enough to be on this team. And that sounds like a stupid statement. Is it because I'm enjoying the amenities of Colorado? Might be so. South, but with a country feel. So South. I love it. Scary South. I love it. Man, let's talk about Pat Shermer, man. Man, Pat Shermer, man, he's got a complicated relationship, I guess, with a lot of Colorado residents out here because um, that guy could not run an offense out here in Denver, but the head coach had no idea what was going on offense. He didn't care to have an involvement in offense. And we didn't have the best quarterback play. Let's be honest. Like Coach Shermer, he had a coach offense with Drew Lock, with Teddy Bridgewater. Neither of those guys fit well with kind of what you need. I feel like to be successful in a Pat Shermer offense. And I understand that Pat Shermer coached Teddy Bridgewater, before his big injury in Minnesota, and he had some success with him. But after Teddy had that leg injury, he really just wasn't the same player, you know? That's just my read on it. And I'm really happy that he's here at the Buffs because I and like Mike Zimmer, the more successful, tenured professional coaches we have around here that have been in the NFL, that have coached at many different levels, that have seen the highest of success. I don't know if Pat Shermer or Mike Zimmer, I don't think they've won Super Bowls with, as an offensive coordinator, and definitely Mike Zimmer did as a head coach. But you know how all these head coaches and coordinators are. They were assistants for so many years, and I'm sure they had some very deep playoff runs or Super Bowl appearances on some staff that they were on, right? But I love that Pat Shermer's here. Does Bronco Country need to let go of the Broncos times for what he can offer to the Buffs? That's exactly what I was saying. I'm sorry I didn't bring your comment up here, but want a beast. But yeah, like the college game is just different, right? I mean, we see Nick Saban. I mean, did he even get through the first season with the Dolphins? I can't remember. I mean, it doesn't matter. Urban Meyer was an absolute disaster, and Urban Meyer. If we're talking about possible, head coaching candidates that would rightfully be deemed as controversial. I don't believe it's Coach Prime, but rather people like Hugh Freeze and Urban Meyer. But they have had success at the college ranks, right? And it's just a different game. And some coaches do a lot better of a job of connecting with college athletes compared to professional athletes. Um, and I mean, it's just like how in some jobs and in some roles, I'm better in them than others, right? Or else I might get laid off. you know, uh, uh, yeah. But Shermer, he's going to add professionalism to this team. I mean, and it just goes to reinforce, I guess, rather everything that we've been reading and hearing about this team is that it's been a very professional atmosphere. They expect these players to dedicate themselves fully to what Coach Prime and the Buffs are building here, and having guys in here like Pat Shermer. I love that. I love that. Would I be a little bit more worried if he was calling the offense compared to Sean Lewis with Shador? Absolutely. But I think with his role too, he's not going to be calling plays, and um, you know, then I'm looking at it and it's like, what kind of influence can he have in this other than positive? That's how I see it. It's like it's going to be a positive win. Let's see. Dylan Hall, man, this is a great question. How do we stop the TCU 400-pound nose tackle? Well, that's just we gotta go and look at this, right? That is terrifying. If we're facing a nose tackle that is 80 to 90 pounds bigger than the guys that we have on the line. Holy moly. I mean, what is Van Wells around 320? Is that what he's at? But good thing we got some dogs on the offensive line, right? Good thing we got Tyler Brown right there, right? All American Tyler Brown, right? Well, at worst, all conference, right? Okay. TCU roster. I'm looking this up right now. We're gonna investigate this together, and we're gonna enjoy this. Let me share my screen real quick. All right. Hey, I got 22 people in here, man. I love that. Hit that like as you come in. It's just like knocking on the door. Let me know that you're here, and we're gonna enjoy some of this together until the Broncos start playing. Okay. So we got the TCU football roster. Sort by. Can we sort by weight? Oh my God, you actually can. Let's hit this. No, I don't want the. Damn it. Going by the lightest. Who cares about the lightest when you're sorting by weight? You're wanting to find the heaviest. This is ridiculous. Damn. I see a lot of guys that have this. So I meant to say damn, and then I meant to say dang, and that's why I said dame. Okay. They got a lot of linemen, man. They definitely are a little bit heavier than where we're at now. That's okay. Oh my God. What the hell? Are you Breon Ramsey Brooks? This guy's from South Oak Cliff. Oh my God. I watched his state title game in December, and they absolutely destroyed whatever school they were playing. Yeah, South Oak Cliff. That team is filled with a bunch of ball players. 455 pounds, 6'5". And did they move him? Did they move him to defensive line? Because I see offensive line right now. Holy moly. We're all right, guys. I'm going on a deep dive here. Oh my gosh. We're gonna take a look at this guy's huddle. I mean, why not, right? Are any of y'all UFC fans? I gotta know. I guess yeah, South Oak Cliff. I mean, my goodness. All right. See if he's got some. I just want to see this guy. Where's his senior year highlights? See if I can find another school that I'd be interested in. Well, let's take a look at his junior year highlights. Okay. Actually, I'll that sound. Yeah, I'm real interested to see this man. This man is like 3 times how much I weigh. That is just insane. Oh my God, he's right here. Oh my God. Oh my God. He blocked him completely off the field onto the track. Oh my God. Yeah, I remember this guy now watching their state title game because I was like, man, that is a big boy. I did not realize that he was already pushing, 450 pounds or so. I mean, that is just insanity. And you got to remember, y'all, this is his junior year tape, weighing in at 380 pounds. I mean, oh my God. It looks like he's just playing some Pop Warner kids out there with how large he is. Yeah, how are we going to stop him? And I mean, even if we have success against him this year as a freshman, I mean, we got to remember we're going to be in the Big 12 after this season. I mean, I mean, this is just insane. I want to see this guy hit. Now, I don't even know if I'm talking about the same guy that y'all are mentioning, a 400-pound nose tackle, but good lord. I but I do want to see him like killing guys on the field. Like that. I mean, that is just impressive stuff. I think I might have like a new favorite non-Buffs Big 12 player, you know what I'm saying? Because this human is just large. I know that I'm not saying anything that insightful, but good lord. He doesn't even need to try on most of these guys. He just needs to stand there. Oh my god. All right. Enough of that. We've been looking at that for 2 minutes. Okay, just one more, and then I'll get to your comments. I'm sorry for getting distracted, y'all. This is an open-ended stream. Yes. Yeah, see him get downfield. Yeah, that's right. Could have easily given up. You saw him get his butt downfield. I love that. Let's see what y'all are saying. Jet sweep him 400 pounds to death. That's exactly what we need to do because as much as I love the effort of him getting downfield on that last play that we saw, yeah, yeah, he's going to have a hard time catching anybody on this team from behind, right? Man, y'all are hilarious. Mike, good to see you, our friendly Cornhusker fan. Thanks for the super chat and the email. Let's see here. Big Bumbo 22. How many games are the Buffs winning this year? Man, hey, it's great to have a Trojan fan in here, man. One of my best friends went to law school at USC. He's coming out here for the game. He last came out here for the 2019 game when Michael Pittman completely destroyed our ass in the second half, and it was miserable. But hopefully we can get to that 1-16 this year, right? Um, how many games are the Buffs going to win this year? They'll win more than 3.5. Um, but we can look at this from some different angles. I see a very real possibility. I think this team's floor is 6 games. There are 6 games on the schedule where I feel like they should handle their business. And after that, I think they're going to be in all these games. Yesterday, I said I could see them winning 7. Now, today, I find myself saying, well, maybe we can knock off Oregon State, or maybe we can get a surprise win against TC or against USC or Oregon. But USC fan, to answer your question, Big Bumbo, if we were to win 10 games this year, that means we have to win at least one out of the 3 against Oregon, USC, and Utah. Um, which I mean, there's a possibility with how quickly this offense gets going because it's going to be very dynamic after they're able to iron out the kinks. Um, you know, can we win one or two of those games? Sure, but that also leaves no possibility for us to have any hiccups against any of the games that we should take care of business against, as well as any of the toss-up games. You know, but we have an interesting schedule, Big Bumbo, because we do play 5 teams with 10 plus wins from last year, but we also play like 5 teams that won 4 games or less last year. And um, yeah, it's kind of interesting. We do have a lot of games that I feel like we should take care of, and then there are a few in which we are going to be definitely dogs for, like those 3 schools that I just mentioned. But as I was mentioning to John earlier today, now instead of going into those matchups saying like this is absolutely going to be a bloodbath no matter what, there's at least scenarios in which I see us like having a chance, right? I mean, Shador Sanders threw 70 touchdowns and had a 70% completion percentage in the FCS. Threw for like 7,000 yards, just shy of that. And you can say, okay, he was doing it against FCS level competition, but how much better could you be against FCS competition? He did exactly what you would expect a big time quarterback to do at the FCS level. And if you look at the other FCS guys that have been drafted in the first round within kind of the new modern era of the NFL, you got Joe Flacco, Carson Wentz, and Trey Lance. He was better. Shador Sanders was better than all of them at a younger age. The only other thing you can look at or argument is that Joe Flacco in like was it 2007 or 2008 at Delaware, he threw for like well over 4,000 yards, but it was on like it was something crazy. It was like a 60% completion percentage or 58. Like dude just aired it out every play. I mean, Shador can play. I'm having QB spotlight quarterback coach here on the show on Monday, and we're going to talk about Shador Sanders because I think he's very excited about him. He's got he's done a handful of videos on him that I've been watching like throughout the off season and all that. And it'll be cool to talk to somebody who can kind of break down the X's and O's in a little bit more of a detail than I can and appreciate what I know Shador brings to the table, but I can't describe it as deep of a level. But it's Shador's mind. Like that's his best thing, That's his best asset. And it really helps that he has great athleticism. He also has a great arm with good accuracy, but his mind is what's going to make him elite, as that's what makes all elite quarterbacks elite. Let me get my pizza real quick. I'll be right back. All right, took care of that. We're back at it, y'all. Um, Keck says, trap that 400-pound Bubba Ramsey Brooks. Now that is a name. Bubba Ramsey Brooks. That's an intimidating name, and he has an intimidating frame to go along with it. Holy moly, Mike. Again, good to see you. The question is if he fires off well, right? Yeah. Where's that punch? Where's that spark, Lonnie Johansson, good to see you. Thank you for chiming in. It's good to see you. More BYU fans. That's what I'm talking about. It was great to have Saturday's Warrior on yesterday. And man, I cannot wait to go against BYU here coming up soon. I'm hoping that that's one of the rivalries that really develops here because I've always respected BYU football. Mike, isn't this insane? That man, we're at that time, that teenager only weighed 350 pounds back then. But Keck, you're bringing in the knowledge, man, rather than me that was just completely overwhelmed by just the size of that human being. Space Eater, he's not going to be moved. That's right. So, yeah, that's why you got to get him moving. Run some designed runs. That definitely he'll be too slow getting out of his stance. Nicholas Braxton, what's up? Thank you. Yeah, that's right. He does not have good feet. When we were looking back at that tape, man needs to pick up his legs a little bit more, right? But man, that's awesome that TCU has a guy that size. If CU got a 450-pound freshman on this team, even if he has, some of that footwork to work on, or maybe that burst, he'd automatically be just one of my favorite players, right? I mean, how often do you get a player of that size? I think it's awesome. Yeah, they do gotta coach him right, and I wonder, yeah, is that the weight they want him playing at versus, what he is? Dave, remember, I was even a great in high school, and you bring a great point here. College is a whole other animal. Absolutely. Absolutely, and, he's not going up against little boys now. He'll be going up against, grown men that are what are they? Come on now. Say it with me. If I know all the qualities, come on. Disciplined, tough. I've read my memory is so bad. Come on, say it with me, y'all. Disciplined, tough, with character. I'm missing a couple of the qualities, but he's gonna be facing those guys. And Green Creole brings up a great point here. I'm betting he's probably not even playing September 2nd. Maybe if we're up quite a bit in Fort Worth, right? Green Creole, are you going to the TCU game? You got to remind me. Y'all are making me crack up. I got to read through all these. He is big though. Look at what Coach Prime and his staff did against Campbell and their big O line. Now that I have that film, I'll have to go look at it. Nicholas, thank you. When you go big against players, the first thing you test is their foot speed. Boom. Nicholas, I know. You said you probably weren't super interested in this, but I think you need to start a channel, man, because you got a lot of football knowledge and you clearly have a scout's eye. I mean, Bill Carroll loved talking with you when he was on here, and um, you just never know. I mean, I just started this YouTube channel for fun. It's been crazy, like all the people that I've been able to meet. Never would have thought about it. But yeah, if you do decide to do a YouTube channel, just let me know, man. It was great to see, by the way, Cheryl C doing her videos of all the documentaries, 45-minute documentaries on all these players. Incredible. S- Scary South. See, I said it right. If Coach Prime had this O line, which is still something to be said, too, would have picked that Campbell defense apart. Man, I really got to check out this Campbell game, right? And hopefully, Coach Prime and the bus, we got the offensive lineman that we need. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm doing a fantasy football draft, and I gotta make my pick. All right. So bear with me. So only take a second. I do like all these slow drafts, so you don't have a clock, which is really nice. Hey, okay, question. This is like a dynasty startup or whatever. I'm kind of in the middle rounds right now. Is Jameson Williams like? Is he going to be good in Detroit? Right? I would think he would be good. I'm scrolling to the most recent comments. I need this free advice. I'm sorry, y'all. Never asked for anything from y'all except for some likes and some comments. But right now, I'm needing some fantasy advice. Is Jameson Williams he going to be good? I know he's suspended for gambling or whatever it was for the first 8 games. I don't care about that. I'm talking about a long-term investment here. Is Jameson Williams the truth? So, if not, I don't know, man. I what round am I? This is like the turn at the end of the 7th. Super flex. I mean, I'm not going to be that guy that just talking his fantasy team. So I'm giving us one more minute here, and if not, I'm going to make this pick. I mean, would be like him or um, maybe like Traylon Burks or Rashad White. You know, um, I think I could get Marquise Brown at the end of my at my other pick. I mean, it's kind of slim pickings right now. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna go with him. I mean, right? I mean, he tore up college. Mike, sure. You think Rashad White? Well, the problem is that I already have a handful of running backs, and I only have one wide receiver. So I know you guys hate the fact that I'm talking fantasy sports right now. I'm going to tell you a funny story about that here in a minute. But I'm just gonna go ahead and yeah, maybe I do go Rashad White. Nah, I went with Jameson Williams. So pick and stash him. That's what I did. We'll see how this goes. Sorry for all that, y'all. I'm gonna go back up to finding some of the other comments. Keck, man, you guys are awesome. Dave, keep it up. Your channel is really cool, and I'm not even a buff grad. See, I can't even read. Um, I really appreciate that. Now, you are Oregon, right? Are you Oregon or USC? I always forget. But I love meeting other college football fans of other teams. Again, anyone's welcome here as long as, you're not a jerk, because even though there are some things that I can get mad about every now and then, um, this is just good vibes. I want my channel to be like, if you went to a sports bar and you just want to talk sports with somebody, I'm here, right? When you come to my channel, it's kind of like that. If you're going to the DNVR bar and Ryan and RK aren't there, they're too busy doing all their stuff, you know, um, I'm a great fallback plan, right? Right? Green Creole, you're going to be meeting the DNVR guys in Fort Worth. I hope you're able to connect with Colin as well from Life and Football. So I need to make sure that he knows about that DNVR tailgate as well. And man, I would love Colin to meet those guys. I don't know if they've met him, or I don't think they've interviewed him or anything like that, but um, I think Colin would get along with all those guys. Right? Colin meeting Uncle Neely, I think that would be really cool. I know that y'all brought up on my channel how um, y'all want me to have Uncle Neely on here, which, man, I really hope happens. But um, I mean, Colin having Uncle Neely, no, that would be prime time. Scary South, man. You're right. I'll sub to Nick's channel. I stopped typing and started reading his messages. He's smart as hell. Absolutely. He knows his stuff. And it's so funny, Scary South, because again, Bill Carroll, he's a NFL draft scout that's been doing this for decades or whatever. I had him on my show for the first time maybe a couple months ago. And anytime Nick made a comment, it perked up Bill's ears or eyes, and it was a really cool experience, because he's like, whoever is commenting really knows their stuff. And that is one hell of a compliment coming from Bill Carroll. I love Bill Carroll, man. He's I can't wait to have him on the show again. It takes 44 to win a championship. It really does. Absolutely. And one of those 44 definitely has to be a damn good quarterback. And we got one. That's what I'm excited about. And I think he's going to keep us in some games. But you are definitely right about that. Football is all about team. It is the most intense and most complicated team sport. Every position is specialized. And yeah, it's just different. It's just different. It's intense. It requires everything out of you. And I don't want to kick baseball while it's down. It's not really, I know it's America's pastime. Man, I just can't watch baseball, y'all. But it, that's the most individualistic team sport, man. Baseball, it's so weird. Alan Keith, thank you for tuning in. Is JUCO offensive line recruit Jeremiah? Do we have an offensive line recruit named Jeremiah? I don't know. Y'all help me out with this. I'm gonna look at the visits. Campbell had Miles Rouser as a DB, who was an ESPN 300 top recruit. Alston Orji, who was a four-star recruit, in Eric Weldon. Goodness. I need to start paying attention to Campbell, right? And Keck, you got to remind me of where you played high school, or and what you played, because I know you said, but Forgive my poor memory. Being a high school recruit in high school is great. There's a reason for it, but but for every rose, there is a turd. I want to know about any recruiting nightmares that you've had, right? So we'll have to see. ASU. Okay, forgive my poor memory, but love that. Love that because we're going to be able to enjoy the Big 12 together. And I'm sure you have. And I know, um, yeah, like, yeah, we're just going to enjoy this together. Oh, man. The Iconium Foundation. What do I think about the Brian Howell Max Cop? I need to do some more deep diving into it before I break it down, but this is as much as I will say that. And I've had to understand this too, because this is something that I've picked up on the last few days or whatever about like, hey, like there's something here going on with Brian Howell and Coach Prime. And while I do listen to Brian Howell's podcasts like every blue moon or whatever, um, when I listen to the pressers, y'all, like I don't really pay super close attention. I'm usually working or I'm working out or I'm doing something else. And I'm usually just listening for the responses rather than seeing how these questions are being framed. But from what I understand, this whole thing has the Bryant. First off, with Maddox Cop, like whatever. Like he left, he wasn't kicked off the team, right? He left. He needed to go. And honestly, like I think Coach Prime would have like been okay with everybody except those 10 guys leaving right out of December, right? And maybe that's just me. I didn't really make a big deal about Cop's tweet. I just thought he's like, man, I wish this worked out because we had a head coaching change and, head coaches flip rosters. I just viewed it like that. Like we had a change in leadership and that's what happens. It's like I've been a part of that too. Change in leadership, laid off. Change in leadership, we let go of people and stuff like that. It's not that he's in my opinion, like I don't see him as a quitter or whatever. He got his butt beat. He put his health on the line for us, for this school, along with many other people, and he just wasn't, the talent level for this type of program anymore. He should have been at the G5 level anyways, and um, it's like who cares if he gets has immediate eligibility? I mean, we're talking about a group of five thing, right? I don't even care. But it seems like from what I understand, again, I don't want to comment too much on it right now, but it seems like there's kind of been a history, possibly, of I need to go back and look for myself of just Brian Howell saying things like calling Coach Prime a controversial hire. Okay. Which I can understand that because, and I'll touch on this in a second. I can understand like why that would frustrate Coach Prime, and I understand why it would frustrate a lot of people. When I hear that, I'm frustrated by it too, because there is like a whether it's conscious or unconscious, like somebody like myself or whatever might use the word controversial, but we we might not always think again, and this is why we need to continue to listen and educate ourselves. But it's like um it I guess I could just say it like this, it's like, well, it's the stereotypical thing to say that the black man being hired is controversial, right? When you got guys like Hugh Freeze that that are loving Jesus and preaching all this BS, but on the same time paying for hookers and prostitutes for players and all this shit, right? Or you got guys like Urban Meyer out there, which funny enough, Urban Meyer, is on campus, but I guess the man can coach football, right? Um, and Urban Meyer or Hugh Freeze would be way more to me of a controversial football hire than Coach Prime because he's never had a scandal and he's been very successful at where he is and he's more than qualified. I guess that was the other thing that some of y'all were telling me is that he's questioned Coach Prime's qualifications. So it seemed to me it was very intentional in the presser today when Coach Prime asked Brian Howell, he said, seems like you have a little controversy of your own. And I mean, if we're talking about some of this kind of building for months, and to my understanding, it seems like maybe some of some of the local beat reporters. Again, this is all speculation. I am a fan. I do not have sources. This is all just from my point of view. It seems like access has kind of been restricted for people who had more access before. I think Brian Howell is one of those people. So maybe there is some frustration, right? Um, so there's more that I need to dive into this, but it confused me because Brian Howell he's not like DMAC on the radio or one of the, is, or Brandon Stokely, he's a big time personality on the radio here. He's not like one of those guys, but if he does have an agenda or, have some sort of beef, it's very clear with that interaction today that there's some real like the smell of some beef, man. But um, yeah, it's all interesting stuff, and I think one thing too, um, it doesn't seem like Brian Howell has backed away from those comments previously or whatever, which a lot of people in media just have a hard time just saying they're wrong at different points, right? So I don't know. Again, I need to do my research this weekend, dive into the questions that he's asking a little bit more intently, looking at, some of the things that he was tweeting or saying around the time that Coach Prime was hired. Um, because I can totally agree with that. Like, I thought the whole narrative of him being like a risky hire is ridiculous. Like, he's not, and it just goes into show, it's just like, oh, Coach Prime's gonna be either super successful or he's gonna be a complete failure. Why are those the only two, opportunities? Why does somebody like Coach Prime have to be so polarizing, um, when, you know, Sark or, Lane Kiffin, I'm a fan of those guys too, but, they're a little bit more, risky hires in a sense than I feel like what Coach Prime's ever shown, right? So I think like there is this hypocrisy and a double standard, or it might even just be like like unconscious or conscious racial elements to this with certain people. I mean, we've talked about that on my channel, and so we'll have to see kind of where all this develops. Again, I'm just a fan talking from my perspective, but it was great talking with some of y'all on Twitter to help me explain, because I was genuinely confused. I'm like, I've never seen Brian Howell stir up a controversy. This is so weird to me. And y'all have been really helpful in at least helping me understand and getting me to the point where it's like, okay, I need to go and do, I need to see this for myself now with this kind of light. But I think all this is less about Maddox Cop, man. Like, I thought about doing a video on it, but to me, it's not really that important. You know, the one thing that I hate is, like, regardless of what you felt about his tweet, um, don't be calling the kid a bitch and a quitter and yada yada yada. Like, we've all been in jobs where we've left because it's like we see no future. They haven't given us a raise in years, and heck, this next job or whatever, it might not have insurance, but at least I can be happy, right? At least it can still pay the bills and I can be happy, right? Um, so I'm not going to call any of those guys who left quitters. There were probably some that you could call quitters or whatever, but I think there were some that just, if they knew the writing was on the wall, especially in the quarterback room, right? Take advantage to find that next opportunity as quickly as possible. Like, if you're just looking at the odds, and the odds were like slim to none that I think a guy like Maddox Cop was going to stick on this roster. Like, that's just me. It's all good vibes. Man, you only got women to talking to at this point. It's killing me. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm glad you can come here. They're all tired of football after decades with me. Oh man. Okay. Let me see what y'all have to say about this. Yeah, okay. Tanisha Barton. Thank you. Thank you for this. So it's the undertones. He does it constantly. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, now with I'll definitely be able to pay more close attention to this because um I mean, this is why I love social media, man. This is why I love talking with y'all because I can learn things and more so than, if we didn't have the internet. I would never be having this conversation. I would never be looking at the newspaper clippings differently and things like that. This is why I'm thankful for this channel and I'm thankful to have y'all on. But I gotta say, man, like regardless of who it is, Coach Prime keeps receipts and he can. You're gonna think that I'm saying this in like a negative way or whatever. I love that he does that, and I love I don't know. I just find pettiness, even though like some of these things aren't petty. I'm trying to find the better word, but I just love it. I love it that he doesn't forget. I love it. And for him to choose those words as carefully as he did, and he meant he meant every word that he said. And I think he was trying really hard not to bust a smile because if there wasn't beef between the two, Coach Prime would have asked that in a much lighthearted, different, laughing sort of manner. But that was meant to penetrate the heart, and it did. Oh man. All right, I'm finding all these comments. Ah, shoot. Looks like it's my pick again. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't think I'd be picking during this live stream because it's like usually I pick like just a couple times a day. And I should not be doing this while enjoying the amenities of Colorado, but here I am. Here I am. All right, y'all help me choose. Is Rashad White or Marquise Brown a better player? I gotta know. Rashad White. Yeah, it's what Brian said. Yeah, it's like what he said, um, and worded it, and it's like he doesn't change. He just sees it as like an attack. Obviously, it is, but maybe just ask the people instead of saying no. This is what I mean. But us white people, that's what we do a lot. We like to explain ourselves, to get you guys, everybody just needs to understand where we're coming from, right? And then everything's going to work out. But what we need to do a better job, what we need to practice more is instead of saying, trying to explain ourselves or defend ourselves, just go and ask the question, why do you feel this way? Maybe he needs to do some of that because when we do that, we grow as a society, right? All right, Green Creole, Tim McCarver. If I were a reporter, I would tread lightly. Who is Tim McCarver? I do not know who that is. Is he local Buffs media? Is that embarrassing that I don't know who he is? Oh no. Man, I love that football's back, y'all. Oh man, guys, I'm gonna have to get going. I have to take this very important call. I love you all very much. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Sco Buffs and Sco Broncos. Don't break my heart. Don't break my heart.